In the game Zero Escape, 9 Hours, 9 Persons, 9 Doors for the Nintendo DS, visual novel segments of the game are broken up with escape room puzzles. These help provide variety to the experience as well as serve a larger part of the game, as the characters themselves are almost in one big escape room, attempting to flee off of a sinking ship in a twisted experiment called the Nonary game. Many of the escape rooms vary from one another, from a kitchen to a casino to bedrooms and tons more. One of them in particular I wanted to talk about today, that being the second class cabin. This is one of the second rooms found within the game, just after the first choice between two numbered doors, 4 and 5. The second class cabin is a bedroom, or rather, two bedrooms, that lay at the end of a sprawling hall of similar rooms, all of which are locked. In the route where Junpei, the protagonist, enters door number 4, he goes in along with Santa, a hot-headed and more vulgar person, June, the childhood friend of Junpei who's interested in conspiracy theories and fun facts, and Lotus, a computer engineer with a child who was once trapped in a very similar Nonary game that took place 9 years prior. At this point, the player has already been introduced to the mechanics of escape rooms, allowing this one to be slightly more in-depth and interesting than the tutorial room. Of course, as said before, it has two rooms that mirror each other, but the reason for this is more symbolic than you might think, which is why I wanted to make this video. This room serves as one large metaphor for something called the morphogenetic field, a concept even introduced here, further strengthening the symbolism of this room. After completing the final puzzle in the second class cabin, which I'll get to later, Lotus tells us of a man named Rupert Sheldrake, a real person still alive today. He created the theory of the morphogenetic fields that we see in-game. The idea that he had was that there is a connection between organisms that is not visible to the human eye, one that allows for the transfer of information and ideas across space and time. In the universe of Zero Escape, this theory drives the force of the series forward, and even exists, despite it just being pseudoscience in our world. Keeping with this idea, the escape room we see here set out to introduce this. The final puzzle that I mentioned is an abstract painting of black and white blobs, similar to a Rorschach test, where it could be interpreted in many different ways. The way the player solves this is by seeing the completed painting in one room, gathering tiles throughout the escape, and using those to recreate it in a different room. When looking at the image, we're given many options that we think it is, one of them being correct. So it's not really a Rorschach test since there is a correct answer, but rather a test of the morphogenetic field. Now, that correct answer is of course the Funir dog. It's actually a dog. Lotus explains to us that it's a real-life photo of a Boston Terrier, now made obvious that we can see the photo. According to the experiment, a set number of people were shown the abstract image and couldn't figure it out. Once they were shown the image, however, they now knew the answer. Then, another test group of similar people who had no connection to the first group were shown the same image. Despite never coming into contact with the ones who knew what the image was, the amount of people in the second group who understood the true meaning of it went up drastically, something that could only be explained with the morphogenetic field. Somehow, through some link of consciousness, this information was transferred from group to group, causing more and more people to know something they shouldn't. It's like the Mandela effect, which causes people to think one thing happened or one thing exists, when in reality, it's completely different from how they all remember it. Later in 999, the main twist and truth surrounding the Nonary game have a lot to do with morphogenetic fields and sending information through them. I won't get into spoilers here, but I do have a video on the finale of 999 and different versions of it throughout the games, and even novel adaptation, if you're interested in that. The link to that will be in the description or in the pop-up in the top right corner. The main takeaway though is that it's a very important concept in this series and is a major theme throughout. So what makes this escape room so important? Well, because it's the part of the game where this concept gets introduced. Due to this, the second class cabin actually has a lot of symbolism regarding morphogenetic fields that I think was done absolutely phenomenally. The main thing being that the escape revolves around the two rooms and transferring information between them. just as information is transferred through the morphogenetic field in the game through organisms and even characters. This is evidenced by a puzzle where Junpei can see through a hole in a shower curtain in one room, revealing a specific tile on the wall, which he then needs to go back to the other room and press the same tile on that wall without the help of the shower curtain. Another puzzle uses both the dual room idea along with foreshadowing for the actual game itself to create a moment that's unique in its own right, but even more clever once you understand the finale as a whole. This involves using a box of matches found in June's room and going to Santa and Lotus's room, where we find a candle on the exact same table. Using the matches from June's side allows us to light the candle, which we can use in a small dark room to gather some more items. Once the flame burns through the candle wax, it reveals a key that was hidden as the holder for the candle. In short, using the fire from June's side on the candle in Lotus and Santa's side gives us access to the key for it all. This serves as a symbol for the finale of the game itself, which takes place in the incinerator of the boat. The fire from June's side prompts Junpei to use his own strategy to find the key for what is needed. It's a small but clever metaphor for the purpose of the nonary game. The use of physical space and mirrored rooms representing each side of morphogenetic communication is an absolutely incredible way to utilize the escape rooms to contribute to the story. It makes this room stand out amongst the rest as not only having good music and visuals, but also fantastic symbolism to go along with it. The puzzles used here, while simple, represent the nonary game and the ideas that created it. I just have to appreciate the extra mile went into creating the escape rooms found in this game, and the narrative that they tell alone and contribute to. Because of this, the second class cabin is one of my favorite rooms from 999, and I hope I've been able to give you a new perspective on it as well, and the escape rooms as a whole being able to be used to serve the story and its themes. Thank you for watching this video, and if you enjoyed it, feel free to subscribe, as I'm making more content like this whenever I can. Thanks again, and have a wonderful day.